From our classrooms to our community, Hawk Talk brings you the conversations, updates, and stories that matter most across the Hillsboro R3 School District. Hawk Talk is sponsored by Schneider Electric. The podcast starts now.
Welcome into Hawk Talk. It is the official podcast of the Hillsboro R3 School District. I'm Patrick Quinn, your communications director, Superintendent Dr. John Isaacson, and the guy in the end, that's our assistant superintendent. That is Dr. Clay LaRue. We have you both here because we teased in the last podcast about how there's two big dates coming up. It's Tuesday, July 21st, and then another one on Thursday, August 27th. It's our community engagement dates. And we brought on Dr. LaRue because, you oversee the transportation, facilities, maintenance, and all of that. And you guys are going to be both experts on this topic. So I want to welcome both of you here. So we'll get right to it. We've been talking about these community engagement dates, right? So I'll start with you, Dr. LaRue. What's the big picture here, the facilities plan, and why are we starting this process now?
So what a basic facility plan is just taking a comprehensive school plan from input from data collection from our, whether that's enrollment trends, our community input, student input, and just creating a 5 to 10 year plan that's going to drive the direction of Hillsboro R3 School District. And that could be whether that's just deferred maintenance from the operations side, or that could be student courses, and just like recently we built the fax room to allow for our students to have opportunities for career and tech ed. So it's just a large scale plan that kind of is driven there for the next 5-10 years and gives us an overview of what directions and goals we want to accomplish.
So when we talk about those 5 to 10 years, we're thinking long term.
Correct, long term plans.
Okay. So one thing we've emphasized, both on social media and our website and throughout the past few podcasts, is that no decisions have been made, right? So why is that important to understand, that no decisions have been made? We're just starting to listen.
Well, and I'll take that one, I think as you're doing a facility plan and you want to get community engagement, right, we want to hear from our local community members what they want as far as in a school. And there's some things where are almost just taken for granted. We understand in those meetings that people are probably not going to say, we want a nice classroom. They assume, and we provide a nice classroom. And so a lot of times it allows us in those meetings to talk about the things that we have to do that aren't necessarily someone's going to come to a meeting asking for, like, we need new HVAC on the roof. Those are out of sight, out of mind. And so what you what we want people to come in and give us their thoughts are, okay, what am I willing to pay taxes for in my community from a facility standpoint, especially if you're maybe an older citizen that may not even have any children in the district, but there may be some things that with your tax dollars, because they're going to be paying that, is, hey, I would like to see a pickleball court potentially, or a community use of maybe a facility. And some districts may open up their weight room and such at different periods of the day. And so we want to be able to get that input to see what the community would really like to have in their school district from a community use standpoint, from a accessibility for their students. We want to provide opportunities, continue to provide opportunities on the farm, and maybe even expand that to build a facility there that they're able to take what they're already doing on the farm with the animals to even go into a processing center, maybe for chickens and such.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Or retooling our on-campus wood shop or auto type mechanic facilities, as we have students who are going to John Deere Tech and such. And so we need to hear from our citizens and to provide the feedback. It also, when I say there's no decisions have been made, is even from a leadership standpoint. There's some things that we think we need or know that we need. The student parking lot, we know that we probably need to address that. The issue for us, why no decision has been made, is we also have to establish the dollar amount that we're going to be working with and plan for that for the next 5 or 10 years. Because in order to do really any of this at scale, and even for some of our keeping up with our deferred maintenance, it is going to require a tax increase in light of some of the state budget cuts and federal budget cuts that we're looking at. And so those decisions have already been made to push those financial obligations to the citizens in the local communities and the local taxpayers. So we have to really include in that conversation is what do we want to do? And then also, when can we do it and how do we afford it? Because the big thing is that transparency and going both ways is very key, because someone may say, hey, I want this, and they would vote for that. But the expectation is then the district has it in their plan and then delivers. Because if they vote yes to do something, there's the expectation that that's going to be met. And as a district, if we can't do that, we have to be very transparent with, hey, that's not in the financial means of the district doing right now. And so it provides for that two-way conversation, getting the input on the front side to allow us to make decisions, allow me to make a recommendation to the board as to Dr. LaRue and the committee and the architects have put this together, then this is the financial cost. This is what we need to do. And so it's all kind of a layered approach. And the big thing is maintaining trust throughout that entire process. And so transparency, trust, but also walking through all of those. That's established by walking through all of those steps that I just
Yeah,
talked
because you
about.
mentioned about the farm, because it's not just like when we talk about facilities, right? Like Dr. LaRue oversees every building. He oversees all the staff that keep those buildings running, correct? So you think about the farm. You brought up the farm. Like, what kinds of things are actually being evaluated? What are we doing? It's not just
So-
one building.
Yeah, I don't mind jumping in. I'm going to back up probably 16 to 18 months. Our facility committee started to have these conversations about a site assessment. So for a school district, we don't want to wait until something that's the end of his life. You're at home, your HVAC goes out, your roof goes out, you're putting out quotes, you're getting within a week or two. You can't do that on large scales project. Just like this summer, we're replacing the HVAC at the high school. It's been about a year project going on with the planning, architecture, the engineering, and then ordering the equipment. So you can't just let something go out and then replace it. So we started this conversation with our facility committee about 16 to 18 months ago, just looking at planning for the future, site assessments, just that deferred maintenance and what can we replace, what needs to be replaced, bringing in drones to do our roofing mapping, heat mapping to see where leaks might be. Even doors right now. You go replace a heavy double door, you're looking at $10,000 to $12,000 a door. So we wanted to make sure that we're being efficient and transparent with our budget and our capital planning. And so that's where this conversation started originally, is just complete site assessments for deferred maintenance. And then as the year went on, back in February, I believe, we had several community members attend a board meeting. And during that board meeting, they requested, there's some items, big ticket items that our capital budget just can't handle. And that's, looking at safety features, whether that's the high school, safe and secured entrance to the high school, maybe new athletic facilities in certain places, expanding some of our drop-off and pickup zones. And really a lot of it was geared about safety. And so before I put the RFQ out, request for qualifications for our site assessments, we included, per the community's request, we included not just site assessments, but also a comprehensive facility plan. So that's kind of where this all started within the last probably year and a half, but that's kind of where we are today. We have completed all the site assessments. Our We hired Bond Architect here out of St. Louis, and they have completed all those. We hired them at the May board meeting, and they have been on the ball. Really impressed with Rebecca and her team. But they have completed the site assessments, and now we're kind of in that phase of what do the community want to see, and where we're going to go with that.
So who do you want to show up to these community engagements?
Everyone in the community. I mean, and not just parents and guardians who already we have that survey that's out right now, and kind of the early returns are obviously our staff have taken that, and then our parents and guardians, because they're most directly impacted by it. But I think it's crucial that all of our citizens in the community participate in that, at the very least, just so that they're informed. But more so is the Hillsboro School District sits right in the middle of the city of Hillsboro, and right next to the Civic Club grounds. And each summer we're 2 weeks away from the fair, and everyone just converges on our campus. It's very it's just out there, and so and it's used a lot by a lot of different groups. And so I really want our senior citizens, our community members, residents who do not have children in the district, because it's important to them. While it may not seem like, well, I don't have kids there, is they need to protect their property values on their own homes, because a school district that has great facilities, people want to move into that school district, which we already have a school district like that. But in order to maintain kind of that destination district feel that we have, and reality is you have to have nice things. People want nice things.
Yeah.
They move to areas that have nice things. They buy cars that have nice things. There's the base model. Do we want to have a base model school, or what, different standards do we want to have for that? And so anyone that is curious about that, and here's the other thing that I think is very important. I want people who are anti-taxes to come to the people that may not necessarily be a supporter of the Hillsboro Public Schools, is to come to the meeting, because that may be for a variety of reasons that they have reached that decision, and we may not change that decision, but I want that decision to be based off information and not perceptions, et cetera. Is a lot of times a school budget is something you really only read when you open up a newspaper or hear on the news one time a year, and then you don't think about it much until you get your tax bill in December.
Right.
And a school district is the largest number on that tax bill. I think it's important for people to understand where their dollars are going, and especially when we're going to be probably asking for a tax increase in order to do these things. And I also think it's important for people to understand timing. There is a sense of urgency to this, and it seems weird to have a sense of urgency on something when we're talking about 5 and 10 years from now. But when you can see the potential for growth in Jefferson County, and for sure in the Hillsboro School District, where like Festus School District is growing as people are moving down, with the highway being 6 lanes to Festus, within the next 10 years there's going to be, I would imagine, a fairly large school population increase, just because our area is one of the only areas in the entire St. Louis metro that's undeveloped. And so the opportunities are going to be there for development, and that is going to come. Some probably don't want to hear that, but it is going to come. And once a school district gets in that position where they need to start adding on buildings and actual classroom space, then some of the other potential projects that add value, like a fine arts center, a baseball field, replacing turf, and all of those different type of things, that's going to have to take a back seat to providing the classroom instruction. and I come to where people, a district that they want to be in, the classrooms are kind of that school district facility that's the expectation. Like, you have to have the classrooms. But when they're deciding whether to move to the Hillsboro School District, it's not whether they have a nice science classroom or a nice third grade classroom. That's expected. They look at some of those other items, such as the farm and my students' ability to have great facilities for sports or
Go to trade school.
All of those type of items.
And those dates that we're talking about are Tuesday, July 21st and Thursday, August 27th. You only need to go to one, right? So what can you expect if you attend one community engagement meeting?
So it's going to be more of an open forum session. It's going to be a learning opportunity for the first 15 to 30 minutes. It's going to be a presentation from our architects. Like I said, they already completed the site assessments. And so you're going to get a non-biased, here's what Hillsboro is, this is what we've seen when we've walked through the facilities, and here's what we think your district could use or need. But then we also want to hear from our patrons, obviously, and what their expectations are of the district and the facilities, and what their desires and needs are for their students or grandkids and so forth. But it's going to be about an hour long, obviously, just to be respectful of your time. That said, if it goes beyond an hour, we'd be happy to sit and have discussions and longer question and answering. But first 15 to 30 minutes presentation by the district architects, and then the next 30 minutes will be question answering, input, data gathering, maybe go over the survey results as of that date. But that's what you expect. They are held at the North Intermediate, the Board of Education room. Hopefully that room probably seats about 75 to 100 people. I hope we have to move it to the auditorium or somewhere else when we show up, but that's the current location, is the boardroom, and that's, like you said, on July 21st at 6:30.
So what happens after someone has filled out that survey online and then they go to the meeting? Like, how is their feedback going to be shown in action?
It probably won't be shown in action right away. That
Okay.
probably won't be until the follow-up in August. Right now, we're just gathering as much information as possible. Once all that data is collected, you're probably looking around September, because we do want to get that information from the staff, so we'll probably have a PD workshop too sometime early fall for the staff, and get their input as well beyond the survey. But at that point, probably early fall or right into the school year, because we are under a little bit of, like Dr. Isaacson, a little bit of a time crunch here, a little bit of sense of urgency. And so once that happens, then we'll roll out, basically we'll start ranking, prioritizing projects, and what the community felt overall is the biggest need for our district and our students.
So some of the feedback that I've received is, we've talked about how this process is about planning before decisions are made and not after. So why is that distinction so important?
I think that's valuing people's time and opinion. So many times where, especially when it comes to school, they think, well, the school's already made the decision. Well, and we have on some things, like with the HVAC, because we have to. But there's going to be some of the things that we're going to be talking about. Do we want a fine arts center? Is that something that we need from an auditorium standpoint? Our auditorium is very small. It was built in 2001. The safe and secure entrance. We believe that a majority of the community believe that that's important. But there's a difference between believing, like, hey, yeah, that's important, you should probably have that, is a lot different than, that's important enough, and I am willing to pay increased taxes on that. And we do have the lowest tax rate in Jefferson County in the St. Louis area, but it's still asking for more. That's important, that people have a say in that, and it's not me necessarily trying to convince them. There's going to be some things where I'm like, hey, we need to have, and that as a common citizen, when you're just, if you don't have a student in school and you're just driving by, you may not know exactly what needs to be there. But I think it's important that there's going to be things that community members see that we don't see, and the impact on them. And so providing the input is, a school is the community school. It's not John Isaacson's school or Clay LaRue's school. it's our school district, and so that's important. But I think valuing people's time and being quick, there's going to probably be some tax conversation. I can get long-winded, so I'm going to keep it short. If you want to get all that information, listen to a couple of the podcasts prior and or our board meeting. Is I do think, as Dr. LaRue said, September for sure, early fall, we're going to be talking about it in depth. But as soon as middle of August, we're going to have some clear pathways, because I have to make a recommendation to the board to move forward at least with something and come up with a dollar amount, because that's when it has to go on the ballot. Because any type of ask we're going to do in November the first time, as I talked about in the previous podcast. So that's why if somebody's like, well, they're trying to push this in, is the purpose is to put it and ask the voters in November versus waiting until April. And so that's the why.
Okay, and then the last question for both of you can answer this is, if someone's on the fence about participating in any of these community engagement events because they don't think their voice is going to be heard, what's your message to them ultimately?
Ooh, that's a tough question. It's just kind of echo what Dr. Isaac just said. This district's been here for 100 years. It's going to be here 100 years after us. And so while we're just managing this situation and this process, and Dr. Isaac also gives the recommendation, it's Hillsboro's school district. It's their community. It has Hillsboro R3 on it, not Dr. Isaac's name on it. And so to be a part of that and to just only strengthens our school, only strengthens our community to have everybody's voice and input. And if you, on the flip side of that, you don't give your input, we do make a recommendation or a decision down the road, and you give your input. It's kind of like that. I told you so. You had the opportunity to do it, and you failed. So, just highly encourage those people to do it, and our community to give that input.
Well, and here's the thing, and this is almost, we talk a lot about students, right? I was actually in Washington, D.C. Last week on Capitol Hill visiting with our legislators, Jason Smith's office and Bob Onder's office, and Eric Schmidt, and every one of our Missouri delegation, and visiting with them about schools and different things that we have going on. And at each of those meetings, the conversation regarding screen time came up.
Oh, yeah. I bet.
Screen time, and because we were talking about accessibility and such. And I bring that up because when I think about input, as the adults in our community, we have to model communication behaviors, right? And so one of the things why these meetings are so important is because it's about participating in your local governance by going there to provide your input, not providing your input on your keyboard on social media after the fact that I can't believe we did this or you shouldn't have done this. As a community, I would just ask that we go about it almost in the old school way of when they're before social media. Is sometimes I think we rely on that too much. Is the old school way is you went to meetings, you read your newspaper, you advocated by participating in that versus sitting at home, which is easier. I can just sit at home and offer Facebook comments or social media comments. Is I would really, people's voices have a lot more weight when they make comments, even after the fact, but they participated in those meetings. And that's why that's key is that's the avenue to make actual change and actual decision-making influence versus the social media way and such as that is, and not just for school. That's kind of, I'm making a broad statement on participating in our local governance. But that's where I know people will have opinions after the fact. Once we get, because I'll read those on social media, is I really would invite those individuals to be there on the front end, on the planning, versus like the two old men at the Muppet Show. That probably dates me.
Yeah.
Is the two old men at the Muppet Show, well, I can't believe they did this, but they weren't at the meeting. And that's kind of the brass tacks to that is, hey, be there on the front end. It's easy to be on the back end, behind the keyboard and such, but play an active role because it's important. It's important stuff, and it'll be important enough because it'll show up in the mailbox in December when taxes and such as that. And so I can't stress that enough to please participate.
Yeah, because we all live here. We all should have a say in what's going on in our schools.
Yep.
So simple enough. Don't forget, it'll be Tuesday, July 21st. It'll be at the Intermediate School Boardroom at 6:30. And then we'll do it again in August, and we'll post this again in August so people are up to speed on that. So there you go. There's another podcast edition of Hawk Talk. I'm Patrick Quinn, Dr. Isaacson, and Dr. LaRue, two really good experts on the community engagement that's going to be happening, okay? So please come up to them and please introduce yourself and let them know you guys seriously want to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. That's another edition of Hawk Talk.